Happy time zone, everyone. It's me, Ivory, and welcome to my gameplay diary. Paralives is officially 34 days away. My goodness. I'm clutching my pearls from excitement. Because the game is getting so close to having its early access launch, I can't speak for everyone, but myself, I am just yearning for more and more Paralives info. I wish that I could play the game tomorrow, but until then, I do have the Paralives Developer Weekly Chat. So go ahead and get you a nice warm cup of coffee or a very cutesy and cozy espresso martini, even if you're working, because how would they know? And let's go ahead and dive into this Developer Weekly Chat in case you missed anything. Now, first, I do want to say, I'm not the type of person that sits up on YouTube and professes themselves to be an expert on something for engagement. That's just, I don't know everything about Paralives, but the community has been so helpful in answering questions. Like my questions about the music did get answered, and I really do appreciate that. So as usual, this chat opens up with their community choice question. Gab answers, it may change, but for now, the plan is 10 a.m. Eastern time, which is going to be 8 a.m. my time. So I am going to have a couple of hours before work to play, which makes me very excited. Let's go ahead and move on to the general questions. So the first general question is, how long does it take to implement a system like the aspiration? How much iterations is there versus how much to code the initial design? Jeremy responds, the initial design and implementation goes really fast, I would say. A matter of hours and not days, but it's afterwards when we add content and tweak things that it takes the most time. I can't really say how long that will take because we'll be still doing it all around early access. Me personally, you ask me to make and code something, it's going to take me 6 months. The next question goes, for the start of early access, should players expect the bones of most of the features you guys want in the game, or will y'all have a few fleshed out and then add more as you go? We know there will be some missing feature, but I'm wondering what exactly that means to you guys, and also help those who might have a different thought get on the same page as you guys. Jeremy responds, our goal for the potential of each feature is to be visible when the game launches in early access. This means that we want a bit more than just the bones, because that often wouldn't be enough for players to have a good time. Having the together card system, for instance, without enough cards or without anything interesting that the cards can do wouldn't help, because people would try it out and might not see the potential, therefore not thinking that there is any value in the system. Things might be unbalanced and there could be content or polish missing. But if someone can try out a feature and go, neat, can't wait to see what they'll do with this in the future, we'll be pretty happy. So I definitely understand where Jeremy is coming from with that response. I mean, early access games, I feel like people have just lost a general understanding of what it means to be early access. So even if they wanted to present, a feature that they're working on, it is more hurtful than helpful to have that feature be incomplete. But let's go ahead and move on to the next question. It goes, by the time the answer to this comes out, Paralives Early Access will be 52 days away. Since we're close, do you already have an estimate for how much disk space Paralives will take up when Early Access comes out? Good question. Now, Jeremy responds, no such estimate at the moment, unfortunately. The game installed from Steam takes 7 gigabytes currently. But I know we are still missing the voice acting audio files, and I can't say how much space that'll take. Thank you for the question. Knowing that the game is 7 gigabytes without the audio files is very intriguing. I don't think it's going to take up too much space on the disc, but it's too soon to say. We'll just have to wait until the 8th to find out. The following question is, are you going to update the Steam page closer to release to include what is and what isn't in the game on day one? Right now, the Steam page looks great, but it feels a little misleading. Ooh, I don't mean this weirdly. Oh, okay, clock that. With what it says you can do in the about game description, pets, cars, bikes, some people probably just won't look up the game before buying and would rely on the Steam page for all their info. Gab responds with, that is a very good point and something we are working on right now. We plan on updating the Steam page in all confirmed languages before the early access release date to reflect better what features should be expected. I really appreciate this question because that's something that I personally didn't think about, but that could have been something detrimental. You know, if they have, we'll have pets, we'll have this, we'll have that, but in the future, not on day one. So shout out to that person for asking that question. Mustache Man is like really popular. So this question is, Mustache Man as an official pair who sometimes, maybe occasionally, peeks into people's windows. Jeremy says, we love Roberto. I hope he stays in. I'm sorry, but if Mustache Man was peeking into Mac Para's window, he is going to catch a para beatdown, okay? Let's go ahead and move on to the live mode questions. So the first question goes, other than skills, what are other life areas that can trigger a life want? Career, family, relationships, etc. Jeremy responds with, while we are not ready to talk about how life goals are triggered, things that can be related include, but are not limited to, skills, relationship labels, careers, time spent in the game, money, how much you've decorated your house, and more. Following that, we have, is there an age limit on when pairs can start getting life goals? Jeremy responds with, this isn't a hard age limit on life goals, but the ones we have currently are locked behind requirements like skill levels, relationship and career progression, for instance. So you would need to be a certain age before these could appear anyways. Adding life goals specifically for younger pair of folks is on our radar. When you're like a baby or toddler, like what are your goals in life? Like go potty, have snack, have milk, have candies, play with toys, watch Miss Rachel. You know what I mean? So it's just like, what, I don't really know what goals that life stage could have. You're a baby. Like, why are you having life goals? Be a baby. But for kids, I can definitely see them having life goals that pertain to a child wants and needs, right? So like maybe getting good grades, making a new friend, going to the playground, stuff like that. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question that states, any updates on some non-life threatening diseases? Will we be getting some common colds in early access, or is that something you think about implementing with an upgrade like seasons? Anna responds with, yes, there's a little virus that you can catch at work or school. You can also get sick from spoiled food. More might come in the future. I am really excited for my para to catch a virus. Seriously though, like sickness is a part of life. It's something that you can't avoid, and it's just part of the human experience. Life simulation games should be all about balance. So, you know, the good, the bad parts of life, and getting sick is just one of the icky parts of living, and I really appreciate that that is something that we'll have on day one. So this next question just takes a dive into Punnett squares for occults. So occults aren't something that are planned right now. Even if you look at the development page, is way down at the bottom. Okay, that's like low priority for the team. Something for the future, not for this moment. But they would like to know that if two occults from different backgrounds, so like a vampire, a witch, mermaid, whatever, if they get together and do a little hanky panky and have a baby, who is that baby gonna be? Is the vampire gonna look at the baby and say, whose mermaid baby is this? I don't know. Anna responds with, it's hard to say how we would deal with future occults because there aren't any planned right now. So it would be very hypothetical, sorry. However, I think it's possible to mod in completely new species, clock that C, in the game right now with their own sets of genetic rules, but there's not really any cross-species possibilities yet. I feel like you could still manage to mod something similar to some of your ideas by doing a single occult species that has dominant and recessive genetic traits, for instance. You could create genetic rules for every one of your wanted occult traits, like you could have the vampire fangs be dominant over regular teeth. A vampire and something else would have more chance to have fangs, or the opposite. Same would go with modded mermaid tails or fairy wings. You could also create rules for skin colors and any other visual trait. Theoretically, you could also mod in your own set of animations, interactions, and needs to go with that. Notice what Anna said about the mod capabilities. Now, me and coding don't get along at all. I tried a coding boot camp and I got booted out, okay? But I do enjoy 3D modeling and I'm learning how to animate things. Anyway, that's beside the point. So me as somebody that would like to make clothing or furniture, I am seeing here that the modding possibilities from day one early access are going to be astronomical, okay? Like the fact that we could theoretically mod in our own species. The next question is, what were some of the discussions that led to the implementation of Life Once? Jeremy responds with, I'm paraphrasing. See what you did there, Jeremy. But things such as once are pretty cool, but maybe we can have more long-term objectives for characters to complete. Playtester feedback tells us that people want tasks to direct their gameplay. Now, this question is exciting to me because it's about being parapregnant. And the question is, can you tell us a little about parapregnancies? Such as, how long will they last? Will parent have cravings? And will the parent's happiness or unhappiness affect the baby at all? Anna follows up with, it's still a work in progress for now. I can't give a lot of details yet. Just Anna, come to the front of the room, please, Anna. Anna, you have free will. Who says you can't give us details? Like, what if you accidentally, by mistake, just so happen to say it? Like what could possibly go wrong? It's just me and you at the front of the room here. So like, if you just said it like to me, who would know? In all seriousness, I can't wait to be parapregnant. Like, I've been parapregnant for months already, waiting for this game to be born. The next question is, hello, hi, how are you? I missed last week's dev chat, but is there a way to teleport paras from one place to another in the map instead of waiting for them to go across the whole map? Honestly, that's so real. Jeremy responds with, there is a non-official way via some keyboard shortcut currently in the game, but I'm not sure if it'll stay a development feature or if we'll allow it in the final build somehow. Now, the first build mode question is, will there be a difference in lot house prices as lots get closer to the town center? And Jeremy responds, oh, that would be a nice touch. Not currently, no. The concept of town areas having lot value multipliers isn't something we have in the game. But I like the idea of that. And me too, honestly, if it's not going to be in the game, that could be something that someone mods. And now the next question is, I asked about bunk beds here 3 years ago. I just wanted to know if they're going to be part of early access or if they will arrive at a later point. Chloe follows up with, they won't be in early access since there are technical challenges and animations that need to be done before they can be functional. Following that, we have, can you extend the cribs and place more than one baby in them? And Chloe responds with, cribs are not resizable at the moment, and so you can only put one baby in them. No, because imagine the baby. Like, imagine someone making the crib the size of a California king, and then you just got the little baby chilling in the crib. That would be hilarious. So following that, we have, I know the create a world tool is still a while off, but could multiple worlds exist in a single save, allowing you to move between them? Or will it be one world per save situation? Jeremy says, I'm not sure. Currently, you can only have one town per save. I think this is world in your context. But I don't think it's a limitation of our system. We could have multiple towns in the same save, I think, but we never tried. So it's hard to say for sure. We'll look into that someday though. Thank you for the question. There were some questions about art, and the first one is, do we have any idea of what the ideal size might be for uploading your own images for custom art, tattoos, etc.? It's something I love to do a bunch of, but I usually make my art pretty high res, and I figure 4K images are probably overkill and not good for performance. That is a great question, actually. So Chloe says, well, we have some guidelines internally for performance sake, and we will most likely release those details when we release our modding guides. I wouldn't say there's an ideal size for something you might add yourself. I'd say usually we are around on average of 1024 by 1024 for textures though. From what Chloe is saying, in theory, we should be able to upload those high-res photos, but if you put too many in there, this is just, my assumptions. If you have so many high-res custom content items in your game, and your PC is louder than Beyonce during the B-Day album, you might have a self-induced issue. So proceed with caution with high-resolution items. The next art question is, any part of the town inspired by Stars Hollow from Gilmore Girls? And if not, why? Chloe says, I'm personally not that familiar with Gilmore Girls. I was barely out of the womb when the series was airing. Oh, y'all, I had to Google the release date of Gilmore Girls because what do you mean barely out the womb? And looking at this, I understand why I wasn't that deep into Gilmore Girls when it first came out, because I was an entire child when the series first aired. So Chloe goes on to say, but Stars Hollow was inspired by New England. Fun fact, I really want to go visit Quebec and Prince Edward Island. I've never been to Canada, but it is definitely on my bucket list of places to visit. So to all of the Gilmore Girls fans out there, I am so sorry to break it to you, but it is not directly inspired by Gilmore Girls, but I see why people draw that conclusion. I really enjoyed the weekly death chats because it just gives me more morsels of Paralives. And I've been going down the rabbit hole of Paralives, and there's still some things that I am learning like every day. Not that I spend every day looking up Paralives information. In a few days, we'll be a month away from Paralives, and then after that, it will be less than a month away. I've seen online that some people are planning to like take that day off or take the following day off, take a half a day at work, because you know I'm chronically online. I see these things. But me, I think I'm going to play a little bit before work and then after. And then take a break and then play the following day. But let me know what your plans are for the Paralives release date. Other than that, I do want to say thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you hanging out with me for a bit today. Remember to stay hydrated, be kind to yourself, and wishlist Paralives on Steam. I'll catch you over in the next video. Bye.